दोस्तों, marketing innovation, what lures the web audience? The moderator on stage, the stud himself, a creator focused on multi-platform media company with a digital DNA. He has been listed amongst the top 15 angel investors in India 2013 by VC Circle. The co-founder and managing director of Qyuki, Sameer Bangara, on stage, please. He heads the marketing for Voot. With his marketing strategies, in less than 2 years from its launch, Voot has already become a dominant OTT video platform in India. Akash Banerjee. Medini Mangala. She is the senior brand marketing manager of Pocket Aces, home to India's favorite digital content. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, आज जो मोजे पहना और जो hair style मैं afford कर सकता हूँ only because of this man. When no one gave me work, he gave me work. He is the partner producer, Big Synergy, and has over 23 years of experience in the world of media and entertainment. He's currently developing a slate of big-ticket drama series for the digital medium for Big Synergy, as their focus is to take it to the next level. We have none other than Namit Sharma. The man who has taken television and digital business to another level with his company tvnewsforyou.com. Mr. Vijay Vishwanath, please.
We're talking about marketing in digital, and there's a lot of confusion around, is it any different? We have great marketers here, Mr. Bhaskar Das sitting here, and really, is there a difference? There's a difference in execution, perhaps, but are the core strategies similar or radically different? I want to call out the fact that the curation of the panel has been done in such a way that we actually see how it's different for different buckets. So, for Akash, I'd like to put that into the Goliath strategy, because he comes from Hotstar and Voot, and that's a strategy when you approach marketing with the big bucks. And obviously that strategy is different from Medini, your company Pocket Aces, who are also the title sponsor of this event. And it'll be really interesting to hear your perspective. You've been at Folenco, and you actually make the shift from the client side to actually partner coming on board, right? And so we'll talk about that, and that's a lot more, it's a well-funded company, so certainly there is marketing dollars. Let me see a show of hands. How many individual creators in the audience? Any individual creators? 2? 3? Siddharth, yes. I meant not well-funded creators. You're a well-funded creator. All right, so obviously there are differences in the approach when you come from a corporate that's raised money, and then as a creator that is creating content for large platforms. Namit, you've seen the whole Yash Raj and the produce for GECs, and now producing for OTTs. And OTTs are really the larger budget sort of making the films, and so one should not confuse content that is created on the web that is user-generated and what I think we would call premium user-generated. So the user-generated is, I took a video of my dog pooping and that's up, it didn't cost me any money. Premium user-generated is, I think, what you've seen some of the top YouTubers, what they're creating, a lot of thought goes into it, investment may not be just cash, but actually a lot of time and creativity. So Namit, just to sort of draw those parallels. And then I want to bounce off because in this crazy world of online video, and I think the belief collectively of the panelists will be that online video, and our belief at Qyuki is that the World Wide Web is becoming the World Wide Video Web. So dub is becoming VDub. And so the internet and video are synonymous. And in that world, Vijay, to hear about your perspective about how people who are reading, especially on the news side, I believe earlier today, Arnab mentioned that news is actually the largest segment of consumption. Heavily contested backstage. I want to sort of throw that to you and sort of maybe debate that with this team. So Akash, let me open with you. Tell us, as a marketing strategy, to put things in perspective, obviously you can't share that individually, but between as a launch plan, Hotstar and Voot put together, what are the kinds of investments of marketing in a launch plan of a massive OTT like this? Is it in the $5 million range or the $50 million range? Where are the monies being spent? How much was spent?
I can tell you that, but I have to kill you.
I'm prepared to die to get that information. I've been dying to know, but so tell us for both.
Look, India is a country, digital, when we launched Hotstar 3 years back, and when we launched Voot 2 years back, digital and digital video and OTT video, whatever different words and descriptors you may use over here, it was very clearly a nascent category that we were getting into. It was very clearly an underpenetrated category. And the task that each of the platforms, in some way or the other, had taken upon themselves was to build the category. The game was not about gaining share. The game was very clearly about, at some level, possibly gaining share of the time that a consumer spends in watching content, but not so much about gaining share from each other. And when you are setting up a new business, and that too in a nascent category, the only ammunition, the only go-to-market strategy is to go big, is to go really strong.
Yep.
And for an OTT video segment where, of course, we had YouTube, which was and which still is the big category creator of sorts, we were at some level, up against the big digital Goliath. And at some level, we were, of course, also gaining time from TV, where consumers were spending more and more time. And the task very clearly was to do a mix and match of a bunch of things. One is, since the content...
Akash, can I just, somewhere over there, there's going to be a number. I want to put that scale because we're 19 minutes. I want to get a number from you. If you can give us a number consolidated, because when we compare that to maybe the kind of stuff that Pocket Aces approaches it with, and then for TV, I just want to draw those parallels. So no, if you can give us a broad brush.
Sure. Look, let me flip it. In terms of cash spends, which is on mass media, on digital impact, on ROI-driven marketing, anything in excess of 50 to 100 CR is something that we were all investing behind. But the beauty of OTT brand when it comes from a broadcast network is there's a huge network that each of these brands had actually used and leveraged. And the moment you start putting a monetary value to that of course then goes to really big numbers.
Insane.
Yeah, goes to really big numbers. But for us, we obviously had this huge strength, huge competitive advantage of being able to leverage the network strength. Just last point.
Sure,
let me also reiterate that whether it's a launch or whether a product is in beta, I think the first fundamental for any tech brand very clearly is to invest disproportionately behind first the product and the tech. Because
Absolutely.
This is where the entire experience, the entire content actually is going to be experienced. And that's actually was the pillar on which we invested the most.
Got it. So if I were to summarize, we're saying somewhere in the region of about 100 crores for a large OTT play, not counting for the content investments, because obviously if you're getting rights for sports, etc., that is also going to draw traffic into you. So it's in the hundreds of crores, and that's the Goliath strategy, okay? Medini, how do you, as a funded, but obviously at a different scale, when you're building audiences, and we know, I think we're all privy to the marketing campaign that Hotstar did a few years ago. It was fantastic. Congratulations on that launch. And then for Voot also, you would see it everywhere. You'd see it on TV, you saw it in print, you saw it on mobile, desktop, hoardings, everything, right? Now, as you guys have built Pocket Aces into several million following online over various platforms, YouTube, Facebook predominantly, you've chosen not to go, perhaps, for example, like what TVF did with the TVF Play model as a separate app. Right. Talk to us a little bit about how did you see building audiences from a more maybe content marketing perspective rather than a sort of a hardcore marketing push-driven strategy?
Right. So you're talking about two broad things essentially, but how do we build this? We built it completely organically because we identified just one thing. Let's create relatable content. That's it. Let's create content that the viewer sees and says, oh my God, that's me, or tags XYZ people and says, oh my God, that's you. That's how we organically built the content. So that's one part of it. How did we smartly integrate brands into this? That's what content marketing, content syndication is all about. So I think Anirudh said this in the morning session that of our top 10 most watched videos, 7 of them are branded videos, which means we've got Furlenco integrations, we've got Epigamia, we've got Zoomcar. It's about creating top-of-the-mind recall for the brand, but not becoming a sellout. Still creating content that is relatable, talk about it, sell it in a relatable manner. And at the end of a 5-minute, 6-minute video, people are actually Googling and saying, hey, what is Furlenco, yaar? Let me tell you the brand side of it. As Furlenco client, our sales or our rentals went up 5x. That's the reality. After the first video with Filter Copy, which I think got about 42 million views,
that was largely Facebook? Or was
that was Facebook and YouTube. I think between them it was about 60 million views.
And what did you do to integrate Furlenco, apart from product integration, into an actual sort of redirection onto a Furlenco site?
Yeah, it was redirection onto the Furlenco site.
And so the visits to the site went up 5x.
Absolutely, and actual
and it was
conversions. With one video, actual conversions. So it was about smartly doing it, not throwing it in their face, subtle, smart, a flipping logo and saying, hey, you know what, I understand what you're doing because the video content is not very different from the brand. There's got to, the two have to marry at some point.
But bringing it back to the marketing aspect of it, since we are ensconced on that on this panel, are you saying that the creative and the marketing strategy online are kind of blending because you had a creative thought which was auto-marketing the content?
Yep.
Was there a marketing push for it? For example, you make a film. Everybody makes a film in this market or a TV series doing exactly what we're saying. The challenge, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're sitting here in a panel supposedly knowing what Lure's web audience is. The fact of the matter is that if everybody knew this, we'd all be multi-billion-dollar companies. Everybody's discovering this along the way of what does Lure. So what worked in this case is, what was the marketing strategy to launch this content? Was there something, or was, as a product company, we'll make this really awesome content, put it out there, and it will auto-market itself because it's relatable? Was
That's it. Absolutely. Fundamentally, and I think if you've seen Pocket Aces content over the last few years, that's all it is. It's relatable, shareable content. Simple. That's how we will continue to organically
Got it. And so that sort of starkly contrasts with, obviously, the David and the Goliath strategy, and both have worked successfully. The question is, what do you have at play, and what are you trying to reach out to? So Namit, in this context, everybody who's creating content or wants to do marketing will say the same thing. I think for ever since content has been created, you obviously want to make relatable content. Nobody wants to make content that doesn't connect with audiences, obviously. Yeah. In the past, I guess, for TV, the method to do that was to do TAM research or market research and then put that into that and measure that and all of those things. So that's really not changed. The way you're doing that perhaps has changed. So when you've made content for the Yash Raj's of the world and for large studios, broadcasting companies, versus now when you're doing it for digital, what has changed in your approach? Has anything changed in your approach fundamentally?
I think the big challenge now today for creators essentially is just coming from what she was mentioning, is that whether you're following the David strategy or the Goliath strategy, ultimately people have to relate to what you're creating. So whether it's Sacred Games or whether it's a small Facebook video done for a brand, essentially if you're not the water cooler conversation that day, you're irrelevant. You failed. So you may have made a great piece of art, but that is of no use to anybody if people are not talking about it, if there's no buzz. We were talking about a show we did recently, which we produced for View. It was a murder mystery, but we decided to not, with a bunch of friends involved, and we decided to not market it as a murder mystery, but instead we marketed it as the dark side of friendship. We went out there and said, you have seen content where people are largely, 3 best friends go to Goa, 4 girlfriends go to Bangkok on a trip together, etc. Can you trust your friends? That was a question. There was a question we created. It was a conversation starter, and it worked because we needed to, whatever show we are writing right now, the first question I ask myself and the writers is that, where is the conversation starter in this subject? How will so even if I'm writing a show about the 1950s, I'm going to park a Me Too movement kind of idea. I'm going to park, something that is politically, socially relevant to today's audience or to the 2019 audience in that story, because if that doesn't exist, the show will die. Because nobody's going to consume stories for the sake of consuming stories. You look at the success of Stree. A large part of why the film works today is because it's a very, very feminist film without ever saying it's a feminist film. It says women can protect men because men have failed to protect women. It's a big idea. So cinema is taking from digital entertainment and actually becoming more and more relevant. So that's important.
So one thing that I'm seeing coming out of this is that when you're creating on a digital platform, while you're creating that connect, you're also building for an organic reach or a pull on the content itself by making it relatable. And so the shareability of digital obviously enables that. Now, what is the average budget of content that you have created in your career span?
It's a very wide, it's a very wide range. Series can be made from 5 crores production cost for a series to 50 crores. So the size of a series actually is not relevant. What is relevant is the scale of your thought, the scale of your story. Right. I think that's important. I don't think the budget of a series today is important for it to become a success.
So I'll tell you why I raised that, because when you're creating that is in the range of 5 crores to 50 crores, and I'm guessing that the folks who are playing on the digital side are probably playing in the range of 50 lakhs to 5 crores or less. When it's on the premium UGC side, of course, much less. When it's branded content, probably the 50 lakhs to the 5 crore game. Would you create for a purely digital platform, as in not, so you're creating for OTT right now?
Yes.
To me, the OTTs represent an avatar of the TV industry or of the film industry, because
it's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid. And so when you launch on Colors or Star Plus, you already have, I don't know, 50 million homes that are tuning into that 9 p.m. slot, right? And the OTTs are giving you that reach. Would you personally be comfortable, after making content for so many years for those platforms, shift to a largely organic? I mean, the thing about digital is, pure digital, is that you could go to 500 million audiences, or you might not even get 50,000, right? So you're kind of naked and you put yourself out there.
It's a very challenging time. It depends on who you are as a creator. I'm happy to be tested. I'm happy to see whether we're getting it right or not. I don't think any creator worth their salt is going to not take.
Do you get involved in the marketing decision when you're doing these 5 to 50 crore kind of content?
Not
Do you
decisions, but
marketing?
they're definitely part of discussions. I mean, we did a successful series with Wood last year, which again had a fairly socio-political sort of filter in the marketing, because it was about women empowerment in Haryana. So always picking these filters while writing them, or having these discussions while making promos or creating campaigns.
So quickly, before I come to you, Vijay, just 1 second on that point. So when you did that for Woot and Akash, how did you now push that in that region maybe? Was there some segmentation strategy to drive the adoption and lift it from those markets where it was relevant? Because you had good content, you had stuff that was relatable in that sense. What did you do to push that?
Look, that's the beauty of digital, isn't it? Which is you can reach out to hundreds and thousands of unique consumer segments, which possibly a TV channel may not necessarily be able to do so. Right? There are pockets of fans who would want to watch a certain genre of content. There are pockets of fans who would want to watch a certain kind of actor or protagonist. There are different kinds of fans who would want to watch a certain duration of content. So you can slice and dice the data the way you think it will yield the maximum returns, which in our case is obviously the conversions. And the beauty of digital very clearly is also about that you can run multiple campaigns at any given point in time, and then you see how the conversions are happening.
You can shut off the ones that are not working, right?
And then you start optimizing them.
Yeah, that's the point. It's about instant gratification.
Exactly.
You immediately know what works, what doesn't, what does my audience like, and what do they not try.
Which in the 5 to 50 crore, you're kind of pre-committed, right? Because now once you've rolled the behemoth, and I think that the market exists for both. That's the beauty of our country today. That there is interest for that. There couldn't be a better time to be a content creator, frankly, because there's a market for that, this, and the whole 9 yards. But the market for non-video content, because we're all sort of talking about video, and I know you're a great believer of news as well as the text-based content. How has that changed for you? Do you still think that the web and text has a great future going forward?
See, prima facie, digital is just an extension of traditional media, whether print, radio, or video, right? So when it comes to print, here the mechanism is completely different. Your audiences are different, and every day the audiences keep changing. So as your YouTube or your OTT, whatever it is. So when it comes to marketing and innovation, it's almost the same. The thing is now how you are going to push your content to make them consume more, and how controversial content that you create so that they constantly engage with you. As Arnab said in the morning, if at all there's a content goes viral, all India, there is Kashmir to Kanyakumari, that can be a news content only. It's very simple. Your Bollywood, it stays with certain geography, or a Tollywood stays with certain geography. Only news content can go Kashmir to Kanyakumari, viral. So when it comes to news, also there's another point was discussed in the morning, that news channel per se or news genre per se should also get into all the OTTs and all the platform for a for their audience, so that then you can also possibly get a lot of new audience into your platform. And also news customized content. It's just not the 24/7 news channel. Customized content that can also get.
So what is your marketing strategy? Because in news, I guess for the credibility aspect, you can't really push and you can't do commissioned content in that sense because you lose credibility. So what is the marketing strategy is getting to it first, and so the first person typically gets the maximum push on it. What is the other thing that you can do to actually market that genre of content?
See, in this genre as it is, the whole world is fighting with fake news. Right? You don't know what is right, what is not. It's a big challenge. It's not going to be easy from now on. The more and more technology growth, the more and more these kind of a challenge that you're going to definitely face. But having said that, I think even people are also kind of getting some kind of a knowledge about the fake news as well as the original news, what to believe, what not to believe. And when I say things are going viral, you please take it so far, it's only a negative news that's gone viral. Now positive news has gone viral in India. It's only negative, and it is not about the consumer, it is not about the creator. That's a perception that has been portrayed as of now. That's a positioning that we are enjoying. But this is definitely going to change. Now the same viral that we are going to talk about, it will lead to some kids' help or something positive, it's going to land up definitely one day. Having said that, now, conception of news pattern itself is changing, and when it comes to online, only online reading area, I see marketing innovation is that the extension of that is an events. You have to do a ground events to gather more people, get more new eyeballs, and get into kind of a networking. That is the next level. Then that's where if you see, TY and all these people conduct a lot of ground events, customized events, and industry-related events, more of a B2B events.
So the offline part with the online.
That's the only way you can go. You can get more audience.
Yeah, Akash, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
Look, whether it's news or Bollywood or TV shows or originals, I think these are all different means to the end, right? I think what we're all talking about is something so new, which has actually evolved over the last couple of years, in fact, with respect to the changing role of a marketer itself. Couple of years back, the only thing that would be the expectation from a marketer would be to create a great, stellar, memorable advertising, 30-second TVC for the television audiences, and ensure that the consumer remembers it when he goes to the point of sale and makes that specific purchase.
And in order to remind them, you bang it out 5,000 times a day.
Right, absolutely. So that, right? From there, it moved to the world of suddenly when digital had started gaining steam, display, and a lot of web portals suddenly a couple of years back had suddenly become extremely critical. A lot of marketers had started dabbling with the world of let's create some rich media creatives.
Fantastic.
Right? Those would not necessarily give you quick returns, but they would certainly get you a pat on the back. But today, a marketer is actually supposed to sit with storytellers, data guys, data scientists, a product guy, a technology guy, an advertising guy as well, and a social media person.
Fantastic segue, because that's the section I was just coming to, and I want to open that up to you. So let's put it in context. We are talking about, I think, in every session and every sort of conference like this, if you go from Stream to other conferences like this, there's a general consensus amongst the people at these at events and the business audiences that we have to move from creating ads to creating content. What does that mean?
This means you all have to start dancing together when this music plays.
So that join us. But So in that context, that we need to create content versus ads, let's just put into perspective, we spend about 12,000 crores on digital alone. About 25,000 odd crores goes to TV, okay? In that 12,000 crores, about 6,000 crores goes to search, which I think we all require, because when you search for something online, you have to find it. But another 6,000 odd crores, 6,000 crores goes towards display. Raise your hands, when is the last time any of you clicked on a display banner? And when you raise your hands, tell me when was that? How long ago? How many people in this audience have clicked on a display banner?
And not by mistake.
Nobody? I see one hand somewhere. Now, one person in this audience, and obviously you don't use these statistics to sort of extrapolate, but the point is, how many, that the odds of us getting hit by a car crossing the streets over here are significantly higher than the odds of us clicking on a display banner. And yet 6,000 crores get spent on it, and we are all shouting about how TV should shed towards digital. So before we get TV to start spending money on digital, there's a content marketing that we all agree it should be content marketing and not an ad, is less than 200 crores, okay? What is wrong with the brands and the agencies when it moves from the conference panel to the business table? What goes wrong? When you are Medini talking to brands, okay, why does it flip from being content marketing to an ad? For Lenko, you were sitting at the other end, so you could control that. But how many times are you in brand conversations right now when you can control it to be actual content marketing versus an ad?
No, it's incredibly hard, but I think that's also being on the other side, that the sales pressures and the targets that are coming from the top end saying, acha, 5 minutes hai video mein, 4 minutes, hold the brand, talk about the brand, that is the reality. This is what I think Bhuvan and Prajakta talked about. How do you convince, how do you create top of the mind recall without becoming a sellout? It's all about being smart, creative, witty, and not underestimating your audience. Your audience is not stupid.
But what are we doing wrong? Because everybody would agree to this in private sessions. We are not doing something right when we're not able to sort of convince them of this. So, as you'd agree that this does not happen easily. When you're Voot, Akash, are you able to convince brands when you're commissioning?
Sameer.
We need 2 minutes. You knocked off 10 minutes from my time. It was a 35-minute session.
All right, done.
So coming back, Akash, how do you get that pressure as the Goliath, where are you able to control the content? You're commissioning content as Voot, right? In addition to also putting up a lot of big ticket titles from TV for catch up onto Voot. But when you're commissioning content and you're going to brands, are you able to influence the conversation to be more towards content versus an ad?
Look, I must say, while it's always extremely hard to be able to convince the advertisers, but things have certainly changed in the last year or so. I think the biggest constraint, the biggest challenge, actually, it's twofold. One is the established set patterns of measuring the efficacy of an ad, right? Which is a proper ad, is so well entrenched. You exactly know how an ad will deliver on the entire purchase funnel and what would it do.
You mean on TV or print?
On TV or print, right? A 30-second commercial ad, you exactly know how it's going to impact your life. The moment you start entering the world of branded content, right? The first big reason as to why more and more advertisers get into this space, firstly, कि यार ये सस्ते में कर लेते हैं.
Exactly.
ये सस्ते में कर लेते हैं, and then let's see what the impact is. But the bigger constraint that they end up facing is that how do I measure subliminal advertising? That, okay, if there is a certain level of advertising, if there is some level of integration in the branded content, how do you establish what it has done? And
so we haven't solved that problem yet. Even as a Goliath, you find it tougher as Voot to push that conversation. But I think the measurement metrics is clearly one thing that I think we need to push out. And as an industry, how do you actually measure the efficacy? I mean, I saw a Cantor Media presentation at Google Day 4-5 days ago, where they talked about how online video is 3 to 5 times more impactful than television. And I'm completely a believer that it's a TV plus digital game, not a only digital or a only TV game. But clearly, while the schizophrenic part of this is there's 10x more data on digital and yet we seem to be lacking in being able to convince the brands when we move out from the conferences to the business table that this is more impactful. So quickly, maybe from you, when you are creating the bigger budget content for platforms like this, do you get the pressure on the creative input of the brand speak, and how have you resisted that?
I think the only problem that we face as creators, platforms, etc., is that there is a gap between the thought process of the writing teams and the product teams, product teams and the brand teams at the advertisers' end. So those teams are far more conservative in their thinking, because obviously they have products to sell, etc. Writers have no products to sell; they only have their story to tell. So they are never going to think using those filters. So that's the reason why there hasn't been there has been a big in the premium content space, if I can just use that word slightly loosely, there hasn't been a amalgamation of brand and content yet. In the world of Facebook and YouTube, yes, very great example of Furlenco doing what they've done with you guys. But in the premium content space, the thought processes are actually slightly far apart, and it's going to take a bit of time for that to kind of, it's been a few years, not long.
I know we're not going to have too much time for questions, so let me just wrap up saying that I think this whole marketing of, in the digital space of content, I think the book is already written. We all know collectively that it needs to move towards content marketing. You can see the glass half empty or half full. The fact that it's only 200 crores out of a 12,000 crore industry tells me that there's a massive, massive light at the end of that tunnel. How quickly we get there is going to be the story of how exciting this is going to be. But clearly there hasn't been, year to date, a more exciting time in media and in content as it is today. Thank you, panelists.